Hey, Mark.
Adam.
Have you ever thought about writing a book?
You know, I have thought about writing a book, but I just have never got around to doing it. What about you?
I just finished one. You want to talk about that today?
Yeah.
All right.
Every day is filled with choices. You're here because you're choosing to start with a win. Get ready to be inspired, learn something new, and connect with the Win Nation.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, Adam Contos, CEO of Remax with Start With a Win. Producer Mark, how you doing, buddy?
So good.
I love that.
So good. Yeah. Hey, I heard you wrote a book recently.
Yeah. It's not like something you sit down and do overnight, but yeah. I just, you know what? This is super exciting, everybody, because Start With a Win, the book, is going to be coming out soon.
That's right. And if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're not, you can head over to YouTube and watch this. You can see the cover right there over Adam's shoulder. Look at that.
Right there.
Like, it makes it legit, you know?
So let me read this to you. Start With a Win, tools and lessons to create personal and business success.
Oh, that's
From
awesome.
Our great friends at Wiley Publishing.
So this book, it's coming out sometime this fall. When is it coming out?
October 19th is the current date. It's super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
When a lot of work went into this, and I know you want to talk about that. But this is my chance to kind of put all of those hundreds of podcasts that we put together, and the thoughts behind all that, the why behind all that, on paper, so that you can go, oh, okay, that's why he's thinking this, and that's what it means in order to run my business, my life, my relationships, things like that.
Yeah. So when you first thought about, has having a book or writing a book something that's been on your mind like throughout your life? Like, is it something that you've thought about doing before this podcast?
Yeah, I've always wanted to write a book. For as long as I can remember, I'm like, wow, I would think it would be so awesome to put my ideas on paper. And you know me, I sit down and I write every day. I come up with little ideas. We talk about them on the podcast. But on my Mac, the notes program is like thousands of pages long, because I just sit there in the morning and I learn. And, you know, leadership is about having this insatiable desire to learn. I mean, that's what you want to do, is you are hungry for learn, you know, stay hungry, stay humble. It's right here behind me.
That's right.
And, but you want to give back. So leadership is not taking and keeping, it's taking and giving after you process things to help people. So that's what I do all the time. But, and I got a call from the publisher one day and they're like, hey, we listened to the podcast and we love what you're doing. We watch all your social media, so on and so forth. Have you thought about writing a book? I'm like, as a matter of fact, yes. And they go, well, can we help you with that? You know, of course, we started discussing the particulars of having that type of business relationship and what my obligations are, what their obligations are, and what we can deliver with it. And it was really a nice marriage of thought to deliver value.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I guess that even goes to show to our listeners, it's important to start building your audience, because again, it gives you that platform then to be noticed by somebody like a publisher or whatnot, to say, hey, like, you have a good audience, like, you should write a book.
Oh, totally. And it's interesting because I have a friend named David. David Averin. He's been on the podcast. But I was talking to him about it because as soon as they called me, I called him and I said, what do you think? Should I do this? He goes, this is an opportunity for you to share your thoughts in perpetuity, to be your legacy to your kids, grandkids, things like that, so that they can, at some point when you're gone, your kids can pull out your book and go, here's how Dad thought. Here's how how we were raised, our principles, our guiding light, things like that. And I thought, that's really cool to memorialize your legacy.
Yeah.
So it was fascinating. So there's more down deep in this than there is just going, I want to build something to sell. Because I mean, nobody gets rich selling a book. You don't make money writing a book. Just so everybody's clear on the podcast, don't write a book thinking you're going to make money on it. It's going to cost you money. The reality is you're almost, I don't want to say it's self-serving, but you're doing it to give, but it's also something you can look at and point to and go, hey, go check this out. It kind of unpacks what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
I'm proud of you, man. I know it took a lot of probably discipline and work to do this. So I kind of want to hear a little bit about that as far as your process goes. You kind of get this in your mind of like, all right, I need to put these ideas down. And so did you have to create a lot of like routines and structure around sitting down and being intentional?
Yes, it starts kind of fun and then it becomes a little bit monotonous in the middle. And then it gets
you
to
like
be fun
get
again.
up in the morning, you're like, yeah, let's write. And then by like the seventh week, you're like, oh, I got to write.
One of the motivators to do this is I wanted to be very, very, very intentional with my time. And I thought that was a great way to do that, is to take and say, all right, I'm going to share my thoughts every single day for an hour or two. And then some weekends, like some Saturdays, I would sit there and I would write for 6 or 7 hours, but I wouldn't use everything. The reality is you got to be organized, because if you're not organized, you're going to finish writing for several hours and you go, what did I just do? I wrote a couple of outlines and then I moved them all around, and I'm like, I know what I want to say, but I just don't know how to say it. Mm-hmm. So I actually went out and I found a consultant to help me.
Okay, nice.
And got a consultant to really work with me on doing all this. And she's like, look, let's get you more organized here. Let's get you aligned with your thoughts so you can make sure you're spending your time appropriately. I got that going. And then I wrote 45,000 words and I'm like, all right, time to go back through this a little bit. And it ended up being a 60,000 word book, 60,403 or something like that, I think is the word count.
Nice. That's awesome. Hey, do you have like your chapters? Can you give us a sneak peek of some of the chapter titles, at least so we can kind of understand a little bit? And then my thought is too, is as we get closer to this launch that, we'll dive into some of these chapters as episodes for Start With a Win.
So the book itself is divided into 2 parts.
Okay.
The first part being about you. And then the second part being your toolbox for accomplishment. So when you and I talk in a lot of the podcasts, in fact, I talked in the 4th of July episode about getting yourself right before you can be effective in what you're doing. So you have to understand yourself before you can understand what you're doing. And I talk about that in the first part of the book. Okay. So it's your choice. So the first one is attitude, I can. The second one is our mission, set the playbook. Because everything we do is something we can reflect back upon and learn from and adjust. So we have to understand our mission, set the playbook. The things that we've done and are doing change how we do the next things. So I talk a little bit about that. And then the second part is your toolbox. So there's a lot of tools for life and business in this book. That's really a lot of what this is how to create those wins and in your business and in your leadership and really in your life. So we have chapters 3 through 10 in here. Chapter 3, Party with the Beast. Now, I'm not going to get into that quite yet.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to have a whole show about that.
Yes, Party with the Beast is an amazing concept that really helps you find a way forward when you don't think there is one. Chapter 4, Be a Sponge. You and I have talked about that a little bit before.
100%. Yeah.
Chapter 5, Leadership Learnings. Chapter 6, From Chaos to Calm. Build your action plans. Chapter 7, Presence and Passion for people and your work. Chapter 8, I love this one, Lose the Ego.
Lose it.
Yeah, lose it and never find it again. It will creep in every now and then.
That's right.
Chapter 9, the trifecta. This is gold here. Coach, mentor, and mastermind. And then chapter 10, Celebrate the Wins.
Nice. Dude, I'm excited for this book. I can't wait to get my copy of it.
Oh, believe me, Mark. And you are mentioned in it, my friend.
Whoa. Okay. Let's go.
Whoa. Yeah. It's all good, though.
Oh, man. Well, I'm excited. Can people pre-order it and get it online before it comes out?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. I think it's on BarnesandNoble.com also at this point. So, Mark, if we can find that and put it in the show notes.
Yep.
Be awesome. But I know it's on Amazon right now. Pre-orders are going on. It's going to be coming out October 19th. And we'll be digging deep into this bad boy because there's a lot of business learnings in it, a lot of personal learnings in it, a lot of ways to start with a win.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks so much for listening to Start With a Win today. If you'd like to ask Adam a question or tell us your Start With a Win story, leave us a message at 888-581-4430. Don't forget to go onto iTunes and subscribe, write a review, rate the show. It helps us get the word out and reach more people. And to get a link to that book, go to startwithawin.com and follow Adam on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember, start with a win. All right.
Whoa. Who would have thought our podcast would turn into a book?
I know. How awesome is that? Kayla, are you going to join us for YouTube?
Come on in,
I
Kayla.
think this is a new thing. I think we bring Kayla on for YouTube
Yes.
time.
Oh my gosh, I know.
After show with Kayla.
That's right.
Well,
It's like-
I'm also excited for the book. I feel like I've been looking for a good self-help read, and Adam, I struggle with those books, so yours is going to be the one that hits the nail on the hammer here.
You can do it.
As far as this whole process goes, has your family been pretty supportive of you and whatnot, giving you that 7 hours on a Saturday to go write?
Yeah, we've been very supportive of each other. There's a lot of, hey, did you get your stuff done today? Mm-hmm. Are you happy? Did you start with a win? Things like that. There's a lot of the mutual encouragement in the household here, but we support each other very, very well. So it's been helpful.
That's great.
That's cool.
I'm most curious about what the last line of the book is. You don't have to share it, but that's I feel like the last line, I wonder what was going through your head when you were writing the last line of the book? You're like, what is the last line? The only last line of the book that I know is Harry Potter. So
What is the last line of Harry Potter?
And all was well.
After 7 books, that's the last thing. Yeah. And
that's all
well.
she needed, okay? Because all was well at that point.
That's right. After 7 books. Yeah.
Yes.
The last chapter of the book is kind of a list of culminations. It is basically it's a summary of of different concepts. So it's not one of those where it's like, and start with a win, that type of thing.
Dang it.
Oh, shit.
Although
And
it's not too
remember,
late for me to put that in,
start
Kayla.
with a win.
Maybe when you do the audio version, Adam, you should have Mark come in at the very end and just do his one last line.
I could do that.
That's funny.
And don't forget, start with
That's
a win.
right.
I mean, it's the last line is not one of those where you're like,
Right. You close the book and sit back in your chair. A tear
Right.
rolls down from your eye.
but I will say this, the last chapter is unbelievably strong when it comes to the business concepts. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to print this one out and rip it out and put it on the wall type deal. Because it's got some great information.
I hope they're not ripping that book apart.
You can buy 2 of them, Kayla.
Oh, I guess that's true.
There you
All right.
go.
And
I'll just
everyone
send you
else
2 of them. How's
listening
that?
should buy 2 of them just so
That's
they can
right.
also
That's
do that.
right. And make sure
I
that
like where your head's at.
and make sure you subscribe to hear us on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Hit the thumbs up icon if you like this content, and a little bell icon, as I said before, so you get notified when that book drops. But anyways, hey, until next time, we'll see you when we see you.
And start with a win.
That's right.
Bye, guys.